Joining us now is the new United States Ambassador to Ukraine, Bridget Brink. She joins us live from the U.S. Embassy in the Ukrainian capital city of Kyiv. Ambassador Brink, I really thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate you making the time, especially given what time of the night it is right now in Ukraine.
Rachel, thanks so much. It's great to be with you.
Let me ask you first about the decision to move the embassy back to Kyiv. Obviously, that is something that the Ukrainian government wanted and that some other countries have done. The United States has done this just within the past few weeks. You're just there within the past week. Is it a physical danger to yourself and other U.S. personnel to have the embassy there, particularly with those missiles that we saw Russia shoot into the Ukrainian capital this weekend?
Well, I would just say diplomacy is risky. And we are here because we think it's important. It's in our national strategic interest to try to ensure that borders are not changed by force. And to do that job, in part, you need people on the ground. So myself and my team, we're very aware of the risks that are at play. We very much try to mitigate them. President Biden, Secretary Blinken, we all have total confidence in efforts that they are making to mitigate those risks. And we try to do it, and I try to do it myself as ambassador. But what I heard on the Hill during my confirmation hearings was from Congress was a lot of interest in getting us back. I personally wanted to get back, and the president wanted us to be present. So I'm proud to be here with a group of very patriotic Americans and to represent the U.S. Foreign Service, the diplomatic arm of our government. We don't fight with weapons. We fight with ideas and words. And my number one job here is to try to help Ukraine defend itself.
In terms of Ukraine's ability to defend itself, I think that so many Americans who have been horrified by the invasion and who are supportive of the people of Ukraine and what they are contending with in this war. I live in Western New England, and in multiple states, driving around this part of the country, I see people putting out Ukrainian flags in front of their houses, not with other political messages or anything, just support for Ukraine. I think because there is so much support for Ukraine in the United States, I worry that perhaps the U.S. government, that perhaps the U.S. media is telling the American people what they want to hear about Ukraine's likelihood of succeeding in this effort, and that we are more interested in hearing about Ukrainian bravery and Ukrainian success and the Russians, falling short of expectations than we are in hearing news to the contrary. Is that fair to worry about that? And do you have a different view of how things are going in the war now, these 100 days into it?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. I mean, there is no doubt that due to Ukrainian bravery and ingenuity, the Russians have had to pull back and refocus on the east and the south of the country. It's amazing. It's remarkable. It's a David and Goliath story that's in real life. The president is incredibly brave and is leading his people in this resistance to this unprovoked aggression, but also the average person on the ground is resisting as well. So I think that it's what's happening now in the East is the fighting, as your intro said, is very close, very difficult. The Ukrainians are losing a lot of soldiers every day. It's why it's so important that we work with partners and allies to continue to provide as much security assistance as they need to prevail, to defend themselves. And that's what I'm doing on the ground and working with, of course, Washington and then other allies and partners that are on the ground here in Kyiv. But yes, this is going, I guess what I would say to the American people, and I felt this overwhelming support just for our presence, for our team that is here, for our people. When I was back in America, I felt it obviously from the administration, but also from Congress. And also, I'm from the Midwest, and I felt it from friends and family that I grew up with. So that's great. I would just say this is not going to be easy, and it's going to take some time. And I think it's now a very difficult battle in the East. And it's more important than ever that we continue to offer this support.
With the Russian Federation handing out Russian passports to Ukrainians who live in the East, with Vladimir Putin recognizing the purported independence of parts of eastern and southeastern Ukraine, with the Russian occupying forces telling Ukrainians they need to trade in the ruble and replacing Ukrainian education and media outlets with those that are derived from Russia. It does seem like Putin is trying to make the Russian takeover of large parts of Ukraine the de facto way of life in that part of the country. President Zelensky has talked about 1/5 of Ukrainian territory now being occupied by Russian forces. Is it the position of the U.S. government that any diplomatic solution, any potential ceasefire, has to respect the original integrity of Ukraine's borders? Or is it possible that Ukraine is going to lose large swaths of its territory in negotiations to end the war?
Well, you've got it exactly right. This is part of the Russian playbook in terms of the giving out passports and incorporating parts of countries into Russia. I mean, this is what has happened in Abkhazia, South Ossetia, Transnistria, among other places in this part of the world. So it's not surprising. The United States has long recognized Ukraine within its international borders. And we also have, we consider Crimea as an integral part of Ukraine. So we are letting the Ukrainians decide when or how they will negotiate, as President Zelensky said, and President Biden also affirmed. All wars end in some kind of negotiation, but we're supporting Ukraine as it fights right now to defend itself.
How important are the new advanced weapons that President Biden has approved sending to Ukraine? I think for those of us who don't come from a military background, we hear about, anti-tank weapons, we hear about artillery, we hear about howitzers. We're now hearing about guided rocket systems. As the type of weapons and the amount of weaponry that the United States sends continues to expand, is there something that we civilians should understand in terms of the enhanced capability that we are offering the Ukrainians by giving them these more advanced weapons that are newly arriving now?
Well, they are very important, and it really signifies, I think, our support because they are advanced weaponry. They also signify the way in which the battle has changed from what was required in Kyiv, in the capital, when there was fighting in urban areas, where now it's fighting in the Donbass, which is the area in the east, and it's very flat. And so the fighting is basically artillery, and it's from far away. Positions are far away from each other. So this weaponry is more appropriate for the current fight. We also hope that allies and partners will also support Ukraine with this kind of weaponry. And we will continue our very, very close consultations with them in order to adjust the security assistance that we're providing to meet the needs that they have.
The United States ambassador to Ukraine is Bridget Brink. Madam Ambassador, the whole country obviously is very acutely aware of you and your whole diplomatic staff there, the danger that you all are putting yourselves in to do this important work. Good luck to you. Come back anytime. We'd love to have you back on the show, and thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much, Rachel. It's really great to see you and be here.